Many of the Western world look at duality instead of to the one mind or principle. That scatters the forces, and one is not able to hold his mind in accord as when he sees but the one force or one principle, and himself and all things as integral parts of that one. Behold, our God is one, say the Scriptures. And it is only in the preservation of this fundamental truth that man lives in harmony with his own nature. Man is not a separate being projected away from his source, but is created within the image of God and like unto God. It is only in the sense of his isolation, which is the root of all unrighteousness, that he loses the beneficent influences of the creative cause, which are his by the natural order of things. In this sense of aloneness, he has imagined all sorts of contrary actions to his well-being, and is often inclined to blame the universal system for his misfortunes. In reality, they are all of his own doings, for the universe does not isolate him, nor is it accountable for the difficulties that arise because of his own isolation. Return unto me, and I will return unto you, saith the Lord, is the offer of the one to him who will accept his rightful place in the divine order of the whole created scheme. Duality is brought into existence through thought and action without regard to the whole. But by reversing the dual thought or bringing the thoughts to one point of action, duality is eliminated completely. It is a well-known fact that we cannot accomplish with a dual purpose or even with a dual nature. In reality, there is not duality in nature. There is the positive and negative, good and evil, hot and cold, all the opposites. But the opposites, when related and brought together, bring the thought to one purpose, one action, one principle. In connection with the opposites, it is not necessary to recognize them as opposite or opposed. The essential recognition is the single purpose. Jesus always said that his greatest accomplishments were with the single attitude or steadfast purpose, as he related it. That steadfastness does bring us into unity where principle exists always. That is where principle is always immanent. Then, instead of duality, there is that single I, or single I am. Many Hindus use the I, while many use the I am. It is thought by some that that was where duality began to manifest first, between the I and the I am. Many believing that this practice involved two attitudes or purposes, where in reality it is but one correlation or subjugation of everything to the one purpose. There is no duality of principle, but the union of principle in all things. They, the words I am, even pronounce the exact principle or truth. As they put it, the exaltation of the one principle allows it to work in that principle conclusively. We do not see either the duality of nature, and thus we do not recognize it. As duality has no recognition, it becomes harmonized. Summer and winter are not two things, but phases of one nature. Winter is essential to the growth of vegetation, as is summer, and only depicts two phases of a single process. What we call evil contains the germ of good, and when looked through to behold the good, the sense of evil disappears, and there remains only the sense that all things are working together for good. The apparent evil surrounding conditions of poverty and pain that are shunned by human beings, if faced for the good within them, would vanish. Jesus taught that blindness was not an evil, nor the result of evil, but an opportunity to show forth the glory of God. A problem is not foreign to the principle of mathematics, nor is it an obstacle to one who wishes to become a mathematician. The problem is only a statement of certain conditions through which the principle may be applied to produce a desired result, and it is a means of growth to the individual who so faces it. Conditions in life that seem opposed to our highest good are but points of practice until we attain that strength of character to see and manifest only the perfection of the One. When life is seen in this way, all unpleasantness vanishes, and everything becomes a sort of practice game in which we see, live, move, and have being, that the existing good may show forth in our own character and in our world. Nature, then, is harmonious. All is harmony. All is working under the influence of the one purpose. Just as the difference between a perfect chord and discord is apparent even to the novice, so is the individual able to know within himself that which is in harmony with the universal principle, and that which is at variance with it. Any inharmonious condition in the nature of man is evident that he is out of harmony with the natural order of things, and the secret of his perfect progress is to always approach every condition in such a manner as to preserve his sense of inward calm. This is impossible as long as there exists any sense of separation from the innate good that runs through all things. Man's nature is eternally attuned to the good, for he is the offspring of God, and God is good. When one is conscious that his good is eternally and unvaryingly seeking to manifest itself in all things and in his own nature, he is in harmony with himself and the principle of his being. By working to uncover the good contained in every experience, man is instantly in that state where that which to others seems evil becomes a source of his good. Of course, with the relation of the opposites, we find that we come to the same attitude. It is said that there may be many opposite manifestations, but they are not opposed unless the individual allows the opposition. The individual must harmonize the opposites in his attitude toward them, for in reality they are never out of harmony. When we come to that attitude where all is harmony, then we see the harmonious relation in all things as well as in ourselves. It becomes one simple attitude of complete harmony. Then there can be no discord. There can be no discord in life or in living. There can be no discord between the opposites, for they have their perfect relationship to each other in principle. Many scientists, through their research today, are making the same statement. The only discord that exists is with the human or the individual, and that discord is brought about by discordant thoughts. It is said today that the American people are the most discordant in their thinking. It is quite evident that this fact is brought about by the many attitudes of thought held by the numerous nationalities which are brought together here. These nationalities have not yet fully assimilated. It is found, however, that the great assimilating process is going on very rapidly now. The mathematical axiom that only things that are equal to the same thing are equal to each other is, after all, the key to all harmony. It is only as the peoples of America become actuated by a common impulse that any semblance of harmony can be established. This is also true of the world generally, just as it is true of the individual. Only when all the forces involved in a single organism or in many organisms become animated by a single impulse and move in perfect unison toward a given objective is there complete harmony. There is no question but that Jung, in his work, struck a very deep key in the attitude of harmony in relation to all things when he related his experience of going into a cave. In many portions of India, the people retire to caves in order to become perfectly silent to work out a definite conclusion about certain determining factors.